share shame-free life.
Hey, peace, shalom, and blessings to your family. Hope you're doing well. This is Ronald Zion. Listen, I had a surreal morning. It was definitely a teachable moment. I just want to share it with you. But first, I want you to share something. If this video is a blessing to you, any of the contents, share it with someone else here on the Shame Free Life channel. This is not just a channel. This is a community and a movement to help us recover from trauma and also codependency that is related to trauma injuries, and attachment wounds as a result of it. I want you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the community. Right beside it is a bell. Click that bell for instant notifications whenever I do decide to go live or upload a video like this beautiful day. Well, it wasn't so beautiful. It hasn't been beautiful for a couple of days. Well, I'm not going to say that because rain is beautiful. It's been raining here for several days, several nights nonstop. The ground is still moist. Had a very teachable moment at 5:30 a.m. My dog, Bishop, who normally wakes me up at 8 o'clock. Well, I'm actually up before 8 o'clock, but he normally comes to get me and say, hey, listen, dude, it's time to go outside. I get to handle my business. 8:30, 9, whatever. 5:30 is my time. It's my quiet time, my meditation, my redirection. It's a time for me to get focused. It's a time for me to hear. It's a time for me to clearly see. 5:30, he's letting me know I got to go outside. So I let him outside. Oftentimes I let him out without a leash, without any kind of restraint. And he will use the bathroom, and he'll come right back in. This time I let him out without a leash, and he used the bathroom like normally, and he heard something, then he saw something, and then he went after it. He bolted off the property into the wilderness, into the woods. Now I'm calling for Bishop. I'm screaming out his name, Bishop, come back, Bishop. And I mean, I'm just like screaming. I'm in a place of fear, of the unknown, because I don't know what's in the wilderness, and he doesn't know what's in the wilderness. Could there be bears? Maybe. Foxes? Probably. Wolves? Coyotes? I don't know. It's a possibility. Snakes? Yeah, I've seen snakes in the city, especially snakes with 2 legs. Ticks? You better know it. Any and everything that you can think of that belongs in the environment of the wilderness is there, and it's there for a reason, because it's their domain. He went into their domain, chasing after something. So I went back in, grabbed my flashlight. I'm looking for him, can't find him, can't see him, can't hear him. There's no response. So I come back home. Shortly thereafter, I hear some flopping of the ears from trying to get the rain off, because it's still raining profusely. And then as soon as I come back home, he comes back home. I kept him there on the front porch, grabbed his leash, tied him to the post. Now don't subscribe this. I did it. Don't say, hey, Ronald Zion said, listen, give your pet a Clorox bath. I put 2 capsules of Clorox in a huge container, doused them with Clorox over and over again, because I wanted to make sure that if you have any kind of parasite, anything on you that belongs in its natural habitat that you should not be in, that it will not be invited in my home. So after several Clorox baths, and I began to bathe him with the flea and tick, allowed him to dry on the porch, I went back in the house, laid down, trying to make sense of all this. Several hours later, the rain had stopped. I come back out, dry. He's pretty much dry at this point. There's some excess water. I wiped it off, got his brush, began to brush him. So now let me engage in a tick inspection, checking your ears, checking your paws, between your paws, from your nose to your tail. Every single place and space that can be checked for a tick, I'm checking. No signs of it. but he has a limp. I don't know what he hit, but now he has a limp. He has an injury. So now I let him back in, noticing the limping. Got the nozzle from my vacuum. I began to vacuum him off, and so he's fine. I kept him there, but he's still walking around with a limp. So in the meantime, I got him some fish oil, omega-3, 6, and 9s in his system, along with some herbal remedy to help him with the inflammation, and now he's much better. Teachable moment. Let's talk about it. As I begin to meditate on this, and I really believe that the Most High, on this journey of life, he talks to us more than we listen. And he began to talk to me about boundaries and the necessity of having boundaries, the importance of having boundaries. And oftentimes we look at boundaries as being something, you're trying to eliminate my fun. Why can't I be like so-and-so? Why can't I do like this person is doing? Why can't I go here? Why can't I, be like this or be like that? Because there are boundaries set in place for you, as there should be set for all of us, but especially those of us who are on the path of emotional healing. Those of us who are called to help others heal. We have a higher restraint of boundary that most people will not have. This is the reason why we cannot go where we want to go, like most people. We cannot be connected to other people that could possibly be harmful to us and toxic to us and bring them into our lives. So boundaries are set for those reasons, for safety, for security, and to bring us to a place of maturity. So as I begin to look at this episode as a teachable moment, now I begin to understand why oftentimes we don't see boundaries as being something important in our lives. Because of curiosity, we begin to cross the boundary that is set to go into places that are not habitable for us. Unsafe places we begin to go into and to roam around. Boundaries are set. Oftentimes we will cross those boundaries because of codependent traits that are on the inside of us that we need to be healed from, because it stems from an attachment trauma and we received an attachment injury. So now we begin to go above and beyond the call of duty and helping someone to now healing someone. It is not your responsibility or mine to heal anyone. It is your responsibility and my responsibility to heal ourselves with the help of the Most High. To acknowledge that we're injured by something, to acknowledge that we're injured by someone, and that it's no one's responsibility to get to a place of inner emotional healing but ourselves. We cannot expect the one who injured us to come back and to help heal us. We cannot expect to go back into a place in life and to now go into a time capsule to now go back in our past to undo what was done so that we can now come all the way back into our present and be healed. It's not going to happen that way. But to revisit that person emotionally and understand that what happened, it happened, but now I'm responsible for my own healing, that I can move forward into my future without a limp. Like Bishop, when we begin to cross those boundaries, we get hurt. There are many people that have crossed the boundaries that were set and found themselves in a relationship. God forbid you found yourself in a marriage and it's toxic, it's dysfunctional, it has nothing to do with the will of the Most High. It was something that you concocted in your own mind. It was out of your own inner emptiness of not wanting to be alone, and it's time for me to get married. Man, I need a wife, man. I'm tired of not, living a life of celibacy. I'm ready for a husband. Everybody else is getting married on Facebook. When is it my time? Okay, baby, you love me, I love you. Let's do this. Crossing the boundary of rationale, crossing the boundary of common sense, crossing the boundary of spiritual unintelligence. And so now you're trapped in a marriage that is more like a maximum security prison, and you're screaming for parole. But my dear, you did this. My brother, you did this because of the attachment injuries, feeling that you can correct someone's behavior, feeling that you can fix someone, feeling that you can heal someone when that is not your job. Seeing the potential in someone is wonderful. Everyone has potential, but is that person putting in the work? There are many people that have left a job, and you may hate that job. You may not like that job, but right now is not the time for you to leave, because what the Most High God has for you is coming, but in a set time, in a particular season. But he wants you to be ready for it when he opens up the door. Perhaps it's someone that's already occupying your position right now. It is not meant for you to occupy that position because they're in it right now. But when they get fired, when they offer their or submit their resignation, now that position is open for you to come in and to fill that position, but you can't do it right now. So oftentimes, what do? Because of being anxious, because of just being sick and tired of being sick and tired, perhaps just wanting to make things happen. Don't have time to wait on the Most High. I don't have time. So now we quit a job and go into a job, and it's worse. Same thing with starting a business. The same thing with starting a ministry. Instead of waiting, we cannot even build a home without bringing in a GC, general contractor, who will in turn get in contact with an engineer, with an architect, to now create a blueprint of the home. So by the time it is time to bring in those to build the footing, the foundation, the framing, the sheathing, the electrical work, the plumbing, the roofing, windows, etc., everyone will know their role, because we're going by a blueprint that was created, and not just throw caution to the wind to just make something happen. Oftentimes, when we cross boundaries and into an emotional wilderness, a spiritual wilderness, a mental, psychological wilderness, it's because we wanted to make something happen. And now something is happening. We're coming back with a limp. We're coming back injured. Complex and compounded trauma on top of trauma. That injury now is a trigger of another injury that happened to you. Well, this injury, it didn't have to happen if we didn't cross the boundary to end up in an emotional or psychological wilderness that was never meant for us. So I say all that to say this, is that, like I said, 5:30 this morning was a teachable moment for me. And I really believe that the Most High wants us to be healed emotionally in such a way to whereas when there are no restraints on us, like a leash on Bishop, and when we have free reign to explore life and all that life entails, that he can trust us in such a way without the leash, that when we begin to venture off and threatening to cross the boundary into a place that can present harm, injury, or emotional or spiritual or psychological death to us, or physical death, that when we hear his voice calling to us to stop, we will stop and not cross that boundary or allow anything else to impede upon our boundary. There are a lot of ticks in the woods, blood-sucking creatures that latch itself onto an animal or a person unbeknownst to them and literally suck their blood. And at the same time, create or impart a disease, Lyme disease, which is common with ticks, that in turn can cause tremendous health issues, and in some isolated cases, even death, paralysis. There are many people that will latch themselves onto you as a tick to suck the life of your soul, to suck the life of your spirit, to suck the life of your purpose, your identity. They belong in the domains and the territory of which they dwell, amongst their own blood-sucking friends, family members, the clique that they roll with. Bloodsuckers hang with bloodsuckers. Packs of wolves, they hang with packs of wolves. They hang together. Birds of a feather flock together, so to speak. They belong in certain territories. Boundaries and parameters are set in such a way that we will not cross into their domain to try to fix them, to try to hang with them, to try to be like them, to try to heal them. Oh, I'm just tired of just being where I am. I need something spicy and wild in my life. Okay, well, you got it. And not only do you get that, you also get Lyme disease, a spiritual, emotional Lyme disease that will cause paralysis, stuck in life, stuck in your spiritual life, stuck emotionally, stuck psychologically, and unable to move with a disease that's on the inside of you that should not be, because you crossed, or we crossed, the boundary into a domain that is natural for the ticks to kick it and hang with, but not natural for you. So I hope this is a blessing to you, as it's a blessing to me. I bet you Bishop will obey now with that limp. And now when I call him, he comes back. But it could have been a whole nother scenario as well with us. But I'm grateful that the Most High loves us so much that he sets boundaries as a place also for us to heal from life's trauma. If you don't have anyone around you, nobody in your circle that will walk with you down the road to self-discovery, self-identity, self-empowerment by understanding your purpose, holler at me. I want you to go to the shamefreelife.com. Shamefreelife.com is a trauma recovery coaching business ministry. We are a business, and we are qualified and certified to help you walk down the road of self-discovery, identity, purpose, by helping you get unstuck from life's injuries, and to help you on the course of healing from attachment injuries due to attachment trauma. The shamefreelife.com. Go and book a discovery call to see if we are a perfect fit for each other, and if so, we would love to help you rebuild your life one brick at a time. Until next time, love you to life. Talk to you next time, and I'm sure it will be another teachable moment. Have an amazing day. My choice.
Yeah, shame-free life, shame-free life, shame-free life. Yeah. Shame-free life, shame-free life, shame-free life, shame-free life.